Hello out there and welcome. This is Sharon Froshin again, the Chief Operating Officer for the DiscoverYourPathU platform, where we believe that every life can teach and everyone can grow. To that end, I am also the host of this show, The Connection Sessions, in which we bring together practitioners, entrepreneurs, marketers, artists, spiritualists, mentors, and students to collectively connect with community, learn from each other, and grow. And today I am super excited. I know I say that a lot, but this time I'm super, super excited about having with me Ashley Venzon, who is an amazing young lady who has overcome some pretty intense struggles of her own early on in her life to turn around and to create a platform in which that pain becomes the launch pad for so many other people. And I couldn't be more excited than to be someone that helps get her message out. So Ashley, if you wouldn't mind sharing with us a little bit about why you created A&M and the how you and Monique met, how you decided to do this, I would really appreciate it. And I'm so looking forward to the story.
Yeah, no problem. For me personally, it started back whenever I was a teenager. I had depression and I really let my emotions get to me because I didn't know how to handle my emotions and the struggles that I was going through in my life.
Mhm.
I was an athlete and stuff going through middle school and high school. And I think that that is where I was okay. Like my depression didn't shine in because I had those things to focus on. But once that stuff was over is when it really hit me.
Mm.
Um, I went through my childhood. I had a normal, good childhood. My mother, very loving. Um, and then all of a sudden it hit me where I developed a eating disorder, anorexia, where I had lost 40 plus pounds.
Wow.
And yeah, I was the size that I am now is what I was before my eating disorder. So I was never a
Sweet
heavy person.
Jesus.
I was I was never a heavy person. Like I probably weighed 130 pounds at the most, like my whole life.
Mhm.
But it was just the control tactic that I took to control my emotions because it was something that I could control is what I ate.
Yeah.
So combined with that control tactic, I remember whenever I was an athlete, I had a coach, and I'm obviously not going to name any names, but I had a coach that had said to me, like, what is that? Or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't heavy, but he like pointed at my stomach, like I was heavy or I was overweight or
Yeah.
something like that. And those are the type of things that stick with you.
Yes, they
And
do.
yeah, and then I was married very young. I got married right as soon as I graduated. And same thing, he made some kind of comment to me just because he was a mentally abusive person. So he
Mhm.
made some kind of comment to me. And then I started like going to the gym. So then I started going to the gym 2 or 3 times a day and not eating.
Oh, sweet.
And so very quickly, my weight deteriorated. Um, like I said, I lost over 40 pounds. I got very sick. And one evening, I got so sick that like my stomach was hurting and I could barely breathe. And I ended up passing out and falling against a wall and hurting my back and blah, blah, blah. So that's all the details. But it was that moment that I ended up in hospital, like pretty much telling me that, I mean, I'm not going to survive if I don't turn this shit around.
Yeah.
And I came home that evening. I had a discussion with myself. I had like flashbacks of, the person that I was and the person that I wanted to become. And this was not it at all.
Mm.
So I had that discussion with myself and I decided that day, and I never looked back from then, that I was going to do this. So I picked myself up and, started eating more. It was a struggle the entire way,
Mm.
but I did it. You know what I mean? Because like the whole refeeding process is a struggle in itself, but I did it. And my mom was always by my side. So I have to thank my mom for that. She used to write me little notes on paper like every morning
Wow.
just for like motivation for myself. And Sorry if I get a little emotional.
That's okay. I would too.
So I have to thank her for that. And she used to make me like banana, chocolate, and peanut butter smoothies, which
Go
was
mom.
amazing. Yeah, but she was always right there beside me. And my sister, she always tried to pick me up. But so many people didn't know what to do. It's your own decision that
Yep.
you have to make inside of you. And we all have that inside of us that we can do it. You just have to make that decision.
Mm.
And there's hundreds of people around that will help you. You just have to make the decision.
Yeah.
And then immediately recovering from anorexia, I developed severe anxiety and panic disorder. So that got so extreme that I was pretty much house ridden. I could not drive anywhere and I could not go
Mm.
anywhere. I could not do anything. As many times as I said, someone had invited me, like my sister, to go with her and my nephew to a ball game or something. My
Mhm.
first initial reaction was, yeah, I want to go to a ball game. I love sports. 5 seconds later, hell no, you ain't going. The anxiety kicks in.
Yeah.
So that went on for a few years until I did the same thing. I was like, no, I'm not doing this. At this point, I'm like staying home. I'm not doing anything. I used to be like really sociable. I want to be able to do things. I love going to the beach. My favorite vacation spot is Florida. Like I couldn't do that anymore.
Wow.
So again, picked myself up and started researching different methods that could work. I started with like meditation and things like that, and that worked magically for me. And then I ran into this meditation, and this guy that did it, his name, I'm going to give him a shout out, the anxiety guy. And his name is Dennis Simsek. He is absolutely amazing. And I went through his videos because he has like YouTube and things. So I went through his videos and listened to like 100 and something videos
Awesome.
just of like tips and things to help you. And then he offered like one-on-one coaching. So I didn't have the money to afford it. And so I graduated. At this point, I was graduating college, which I did online because I couldn't go to a college.
Mm.
So I graduated from WGU with my bachelor's in business management. And my sister and my mom paid him to coach me one-on-one, like for a session. And they paid for that as my gift because I said to them, like, my graduation was like in Vegas or something. And I'm like, instead of me or anybody paying for me to go to graduation, this is what I want instead. So I didn't go to graduation because I wanted to be able to overcome anxiety instead of going. But so anyway, I had a one-on-one session with him, and I just took the information he gave me and I literally ran with it. And he was absolutely amazed with the things that I did because he taught me things in 1 hour, but then I extended on those things for days and weeks and, started developing myself and buying books and going on YouTube and talking to other people. And he was just totally amazed. And I ended up only having 2 or 3 talks with him maybe. And I just took the rest upon myself to do and to learn and to get through. Because like I said, just like with the anorexia, we all have it inside of us. We
Yes.
just have to dig down deep and crawl out of that hole and let the light shine.
Awesome. So we were talking before we went live about how you and Monique, who's the other half of A&M, met. And why don't you tell us that story about the post that you both answered to, and you were kind of like, "Hey, I like that."
Yeah, yeah. It's just like one of those things that was just meant to be. Like there was someone, I don't even know who it was, had a post on Facebook because there was a lot of shootings in their area, I believe, and they talked about teens not knowing how to control their emotions. So she had made a comment, I had made a comment, and then we were started like talking to each other on this post. And we're like, oh, okay. And we friended each other on Facebook and we started talking, and then we met on Zoom a few times. And we both had the same idea, the same passion, the same wants, and the same idea. So we took this like wide like vision that we both had, and we had all of these ideas, but we had no idea what we were going to do with them. We're just like, okay, we want to do all of this stuff, but we have no idea how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
So we kind of, talked a lot for a few weeks and like narrowed it down. And at first we were focusing on helping kids and teens, because I do believe it is a big problem. Just like me, if I knew what I know now back whenever I was a kid, then I probably wouldn't have ran into these struggles that I had to overcome. So that's how we started. It was going to be kids and teens. And then we kind of expanded it, because we're like, well, we don't want to just like have a narrow group of people that we can help, because we want to be able to help everybody. So it focuses on a wide array of people, and we don't use we like to say expensive language in our program, so that way it can be learned by all ages and all aspects of life. And whether you may have like dyslexia or ADHD or any of those, we want to be able to help you overcome your struggles as well. So we just kind of like built it and developed from there. And trust me, we had so many struggles. Like, we always stuck by each other's side. She would have bad days where she was frustrated because she couldn't figure out her part that she was supposed to be doing, and I'd have bad days, and we just kind of like picked each other up. And it's absolutely a miracle, and it's absolutely amazing, because we became very good best friends through this whole process, because we talk every day constantly. We're 6 hours difference, because she's from Holland even. So that was a whole nother struggle.
So you're worldwide.
Yes, absolutely. So half of her work day I'm sleeping, half of my work day she's sleeping, what I mean? But we always communicated back and forth. I would get up and have messages of where she left off, and she'd get up and do the same thing. So it was a lot of collaboration between the two of us, and we made it work. But we're currently working on like the whole marketing and advertising aspect of it. So like I said, we go through our struggles, we go through our ups and downs, just like any other person or business or anything. But we're sticking it out together, because we're committed to making a difference.
Awesome. Well, your best friend is on here commenting, "I am here, angel pie, heart, share your power voice." I love it. I love how supportive you guys are of each other. And just for the viewers to understand, when I met Ashley about, I want to say 7 months ago, my nickname for her was Guns, because Ashley is ripped. She spends time at the gym. She's very physically fit. And then last week, both she and Monique on their Facebook page shared these stories about how they came to develop the A&M Emotional Development Skills Academy. And when I saw the pictures of Ashley back in the day, and I didn't have, like, I couldn't compute what I was seeing with the woman that I knew, because the woman that I know has just vibrant health and her body's in really good condition. And so that was one of those moments where I was like, wow. And I know that for me, my big struggle has been drug addiction. And one of the things that they said in a lot of the communities that I spent time in was, I may not have been where you've been, and I may not have done what you've done, but I've felt what you felt. I felt desperation. I felt panic. I felt fear. I felt worthlessness. I felt terror. I felt all of that. And I struggle with PTSD, and anxiety is a part of PTSD, and your body physically responds to triggers. And I don't think people understand that anxiety isn't just a mental thing. Like, your body gets in on it too. And then it's so hard to calm your mind down, because your mind is saying, well, look at what your body's doing. This is obviously real. So how do you and Monique deal with that particular aspect of anxiety and staying centered after you get triggered like that?
You know what? For myself, I can't really speak for Monique. Like, we've helped each other out on the whole anxiety section stuff about it. And so I can't really speak for her, but for me, the things that you're talking about are like your sensations, and you call them triggers, and they are very real. And people don't realize Sometimes I might be being a little bit bold here, but sometimes like people will just say like, oh, I'm having a lot of anxiety. Are you
Mhm.
stressed or do you have a lot of anxiety?
Good,
You know what I
good
mean?
distinguisher.
There's two different things, because it almost is like an insult to somebody that does have anxiety, because you do go through those, your arms tingling and your
Yeah.
heart palpitations and, your nausea in your stomach and your headaches and your dizziness and your vision's impaired and everything is affected. And a lot of anxiety is triggered through your mind, your thoughts, your beliefs,
Yeah.
and all the things that you were told whenever you were little. Like my anxiety. Um, I don't know if my father's going to listen to this or not, but um, I always wanted his approval as I
Mhm.
was growing up, and it's something that I was never able to receive, no matter what I did or um, how hard I worked. It was something that I could never receive from him. And going through anxiety recovery, I had to accept that he wasn't going to change. So
Mhm.
I had to change the way that I was going to think about the situation and respond to it. Because if not, I was going to let those things destroy me as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is your mindset, and you have to stay focused, be mindful. And I spoke about the meditation stuff. Same thing there. That's how I got started and even found help, was doing meditation, because
Mhm.
being in the moment, being present. Because of a lot of people with anxiety are thinking in the past or thinking in the future
Yeah.
and trying to mind read and fortune tell and catastrophize and all those things. So it's all about being in the moment and being here and being present. I am by no means about to say that I am perfect and I don't have anxiety, because that would be far from the truth. I still have my triggers. I still have my moments where I'm feeling I need to like pull back a little bit, you know what I mean? Whether it's I didn't get enough rest at night, I'm not drinking enough water, I didn't eat enough, or something happened yesterday and it's on my mind today. You
Mhm.
know, like I said, by no means I'm not going to say that I don't have anxiety, because to be honest with you, everybody has anxiety, but it's how you're going to handle it and how you perceive it that makes the difference, because we're all born with anxiety. It's just how it comes out in you. And
Mhm.
we've both been able to do pretty well building a business, um, and I don't think either of us have let anxiety get in the way of that,
Mhm.
because anxiety is not who you are, it's just how you're acting in the moment is anxious. And too many people are forced to label themselves, or if you go to the doctors, oh, you have anxiety, take medicine. No,
Yes.
you don't have anxiety, it's how you're acting,
Mhm.
and it can be overcome. um, you don't have to deal with it every day. You can learn the skills, learn the techniques, become educated. You just have to dig down, find your inner strength, and be willing to ask for help
Mhm.
and be willing to go that extra mile and do it for yourself, because you are worth it. And you just need to realize that. And too many people don't realize that they're worth it, because they don't think that they're good enough, or they don't think that they deserve it.
Mhm. That
So,
does seem like a plague on our society, doesn't it? Nobody's
yes,
ever good enough.
yes, unfortunately, I'll admit, I'll be the first to admit I had that issue. I had that issue, but I've come to believe that I am good enough. If I was able to overcome all of those things and be able to sit here today and educate, motivate, inspire, and influence
Mhm.
society on whether it's an eating disorder, anxiety, or just your emotions in general, because it all boils down to how you control your emotions and your anger and how you are able to overcome those things.
Mm. So I just wanted to ask you, for anyone who's watching who does struggle with anxiety and who might be on the other side of that veil that you've passed through, having done all this personal work, what do you tell someone who's constantly hearing from the people around them, get over it, it's not that big of a deal, why can't you calm down? What would you tell somebody who's experiencing that, and how would you help comfort them to get into that place that you got into where you can have that moment of clarity and change?
Um, you know what? I do a lot with like visualization. Going back to my father, I had to do that, the visualization with him because he was one of those people that was kind of just get over it, or,
Mm,
why are you so worried, or anything like that. So I did a lot of visualization and reframing of those events. But another thing I would like to say is you have to kind of separate yourself from those people. You have to realize that you are not those people. You don't have to take their opinions. You can find people that went through and overcame the things that you're going through and ask those people for help, because those people know where it came from or what you're going through. So I always try to say, don't spend too much time with the blood sucking vampires, which are the people
I love it.
which which are the people that are dragging you down, because you're going to drag yourself down and become what the other people around you are are like telling you.
Yeah.
Just like I said with the coach in middle school. I mean, I still remember that now. I'm 31 and I still remember that.
Yeah.
So,
Steve, Steve Simmons says, well said, Ashley. And he's
thanks, Steve.
right. That is very well said. I, like you, like growing up, my mom, I think she weighs 110 pounds, maybe in her whole wardrobe, dripping wet. She's a tiny, tiny little woman. And I grew up my entire life hearing her call herself fat. So I'm have a good 40 pounds on her naturally. I'm a bigger woman and I'm taller. So I went into my early adulthood years as well, thinking that I was fat, and ended up using methamphetamines as a way of controlling my weight. It was one of those blissful side effects that I discovered after I started taking it, and got down to nearly 90 pounds, gray skin, looking like I had just escaped a serial killer, and thinking that I was just smoking hot, that look at me, I'm so thin. And I can relate with that control, needing to desperately control something because I can't control my inner nature. And I really appreciate you bringing to the front some of the tips, tricks, and tools that you've used to help you control your anxiety. And is this where ultimately the entire idea for an academy that focuses on skills that deal with your emotional state came from?
Yes, for me, it came from those two major experiences that I had. I went through a divorce too, but that's nothing compared to these other two things. That was easy. But yes, these two major things that I went through, um, I had like a breakthrough that I knew that if I knew how to control my emotions, my feelings, the thoughts inside of my head, and my mindset, that I would not have went through what I went through. And I can confidently say that if I was educated on any of this stuff, that I wouldn't have went through those things. Yes, everybody has stress and everybody gets upset. I'm not talking about those little things. I'm talking about these major life changing events that happened in my life. I probably wouldn't have had to go through it if I had the knowledge of emotional intelligence,
Mm-hmm.
or I just wouldn't. I just truly believe that, and I want to help people, whether they're teens, so they don't get to the state that a lot of adults are in, and they know how to control their emotions while they're young, or help the people that are stuck become unstuck.
I love it. So I want to bring up a subject, and this is in no way, shape, and or form to any of our viewers or listeners intended to be judgmental at all. It's from my personal experience. How does diet play into anxiety? And when diet, and what I mean by that is the chemicals that are in processed foods or fast food, when we put that into our body, how does that affect our anxiety?
Everybody is different, but everybody is different. Everybody's diet, I don't even like to say the word diet, but everybody eats differently. You know, what I was taught and what I've always stuck to is making sure that you're drinking plenty of water throughout the
Yes.
day. And I don't eat like fast foods and processed foods just because they don't agree with me. And there is a lot of chemicals in them, and I try to go like the natural route, healthy. But you know, like whenever I had the eating disorder and things like that, I just eliminated even freaking eating, so it didn't
Yeah.
matter. But now it's it is about eating healthy and you know, doing like yoga or
Yes.
meditation. But I'm not a big nut on the like how healthy you need to eat simply
Hmm.
because of what I went through. And I don't know what you're allergic to or what,
Hmm.
you know, what I mean, I don't really talk to people about their diets. And that's the only reason why, is because I
Gotcha.
don't want to be that trigger for somebody else by
Understood.
saying the wrong thing, or you know, they could be allergic to this or allergic to that, or you know, what I mean, I don't want to be that person that ignites that fire in somebody to trigger some kind of disorder in somebody else. So I try to
Gotcha.
steer away. All I ever say is drink enough water.
That's a great one, because water, if you are hydrated enough, your body has a much better chance of eliminating anything in your system that could trigger your anxiety.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I will say that like spinach, because it has magnesium, and a lot of people lack magnesium, and that helps with anxiety
Mhm.
because magnesium is a natural like calming. But besides that, yeah.
Awesome. Well, Ashley, our half hour has burned up as usual much quicker than I was expecting. I really loved having you on. I love the passion. I love that at the core of all of this for you is a heart that genuinely doesn't want to waste your experience and watch somebody else suffer as a result of the absence of you sharing that. And what you and Monique both shared in this last week were intensely deep personal things, and I admire your willingness to be that open and that vulnerable to help other people, because ultimately that's how we show up best in anyone else's life, is being our authentic self and showing our scars so that other people can see that wounds do heal. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. No problem. Like I told you before we went on the show here, that I never would have thought that I would have brought that out of me. You know what I mean? I had to dig for those pictures to put on there because I buried it. I did
Mhm.
not want anything to do with it. But you know what? If it's going to help one person or two people, then have at it. You know, I'm at peace with what I went through because I know why I went through it, and I'm okay with sharing it. And I'm okay with educating and influencing and empowering the next person.
And
So
indeed
I
you
thank you,
do.
Sharon.
Oh, it is my pleasure. And just if you are watching and you are struggling with anxiety, or you may not even be able to label it as anxiety, you may not know what you're struggling with, but just that you can't seem to find your way back to center, all of the contact information for the A&M Emotional Development Skills Academy is on this post. We will also be providing Ashley and Monique with a wonderful YouTube video of this interview to post on their page as well. So if you are interested in talking to somebody who actually knows what you're going through, who has been through those bottomless lows where you don't feel like you can leave the house, and now has developed themselves to the point where they can start a business and come on a show and share their experience, these are the girls to get in contact with. So I'm seriously hoping that if you are watching, don't suffer alone. Don't blame yourself. Don't beat yourself. Don't degrade yourself. Reach out for help, especially to two women who will be there for you, who will show up for you and genuinely care about your experience. So thank you so much for being on today, Ashley. Thank you to everyone who joined us. Thank you, Robin, Andrea, Monique, and Steve. And if you do come on and you watch this video after we're no longer live, please just drop us a hashtag replay and let us know that you were here. And if you want to comment on the video, we always welcome and encourage getting the chance to get to know you, our viewers, better. So thank you, everyone. And we will see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. EDT. As always, thank you, and we'll see you later.
Thank you.